I am in my yeehaw fit, looking my yeehaw best. So, I actually have quite a few tips, especially if you're a new player, you're a returning player, you're thinking about playing Pokemon Go again, and you're just like, what do I do? How do I play? And there's a lot of things that this game doesn't really tell you what to do. So, I have kind of a list of things I want to run through. They're not in any particular order. I do have a little bit of ADHD, so I might ramble here and there. So just stick with me, okay? There's some good tips in this because I remember watching a few beginner guides and they don't mention a few of these things. The first tip and trick that I kind of want to like go over is going to your local ambassador meetups. So you also get free raid passes if you check in using Campfire, as well as like meeting your local community and also makes raids a lot easier to do, especially when you do them in a group. If you live in a place and especially if you're new to Pokemon Go and you're just like, I don't know if there's any groups in my area, all you gotta do is look on Campfire, check your nearest like local meetups and search by like if they are ambassador meetups, because ambassador meetups are the ones that give you the raid passes. Any other ones don't really like you can check in, but it doesn't really give you any items. So that's like the perk of going to an ambassador meetup. The other thing I want to mention is Poke Raid or Poke Genie. Because if you're a new player and you're just like, or if you don't have people to raid with, and you're just like, I want to do this raid right now, but I don't have anyone with me, you can literally host a raid. I use Poke Genie, so I host raids all the time. You can get like 5 friends to do a quick raid, or sometimes if it's like the bigger raids, they'll let you invite more people. But like normally it's just like the normal 5. And literally you can just get any raid done that way if you're willing to wait, especially like if there's a demand for that, it might be instant. But sometimes when the demands are a little bit lower, it may take quite a while for the queue to pop. So keep that in mind. It's also great for remote raids. So if you don't want to host it, but you actually want to just join raids, that's an easy way about going about doing it too. Um, the next tip that I have is item bag and Pokemon storage upgrades. So basically, what this is you can buy it, right? But also, what I tend to do most of the times is I drop my Pokemon off at the gym every day, get my 50 daily Poke coins, So if you have gyms near you, or you can nominate a gym, because the where I live at, I have 2 gyms that already were there and a Pokestop. So I don't even have to leave my bed to spin a Pokestop, which is kind of nice. And the gyms actually get rotated between all 3 colors over here. So, like, there's no real preference to choosing a team. But honestly, if you struggle to get your coins, it might be easier to convert to whatever gyms or more, like, whatever color or team is more predominant in your area, just so that you can get your 50 coins daily. Sometimes it's not that deep, but at the same time, sometimes it is that deep. Another thing that I want to say is scatterbugs. So when you're getting like also you can get friends from Pokegenie, right? And then you can get different people from all across the world. So you can start getting all the different scatterbugs that they have, the different variations from the like locations. I'm missing only 3, so honestly, if you're let me just check this up right now. Cause like if you are from any of these areas and you want to be friends, let me know. You can DM me on Instagram because like I don't give out my ID to people anymore because I actually had a dude that tried to hit on me using Pokemon Go. So I kind of don't like to put my information out there. However, if you want to be friends, you're not a creepo, like hit me up on Instagram. I got you. But I need Tundra. I need Meadow, and I need Sandstorm, which I believe those are from like Europe and Egypt, if I remember correctly. Anyway, those are the ones that I need. So if you could also label your scatterbugs. Actually, this is something that I do. I'm kind of crazy with it. I only have like one shiny scatterbug, but all my scatterbugs are named according to the region. So I have like elegant, modern, garden, all the different ones kind of like, honestly, look at this little guy. Shiny scatterbug, shiny scatterbug. But yeah, I kind of named them so it's easier. Like if I want to make a trade with someone, if I want to do trash trades for candy, I want to do like, if I want to do the same for same, that's what I would do. And then another thing that I would say is if you don't know what events are going on, you can use Campfire because they will tell you like what events that they have right now and what's coming up next for Pokemon Go. But I also use infographics. So people like, I think his name is Galax, but it's at G47IX on Instagram and at Leek Duck. So leek as in like Miku Leek, Leek Duck. Those are two great infographic use creators that I like to follow because like I would just get information from them. They have a lot of the different informations for the events. Really informative people, great people, love them. Next thing that we have is trade levels and Stardust and why friendship matters. So like also you can also get a random chance of being lucky friends with someone if you are best friends, but if you're not best friends then you won't get the chance of getting lucky without a lucky trinket. But like when I first started playing Pokemon Go, like I said, I had a guy that was hitting on me with part of the way that he kind of went about it was using a lucky trinket on me and I was new. I didn't know what that meant at the time. So he used a paid item basically to try to like meet up with me to trade me a Pokemon. But once we got there, because I wanted a shiny Charmander, and at the time our friendship was really low. I didn't have any Stardust. And so like the trade was way more than I had for Stardust, so we couldn't do the trade. I think the trade was supposed to be like a million Stardust or something like that. But the higher you go up in friendship levels, the lower like the trade will cost. So for instance, like it might start off at like a million, right? But then it can go down lower than that. Like I think like it gets to the point of being like if you're best friends or like the third friendship level, I think like it's like 80K for like a shiny or dex entry, which isn't so bad. But yeah, it can go a little bit lower depending. And so another thing that I love also is trash trading. I don't know if that's like a technical term, but I call it trash trading, where I will just trade like random Pokemon that I would have transferred, or even just like Dynamax that I would have transferred. I would just kind of like trade them to my friends and we'll just do bulk trades. We'll just keep trading. We just be like gambling, right? It's gambling. And sometimes we get hundos from it. Sometimes we just do it for candy. And sometimes you get a better IV reroll. You know what I mean? Especially like if you're like hunting for PvP IVs or hundos, etc. Like you can get better rerolls if it was already trash. That's why I call it trash trading. Also, with trading, you also have a chance of getting lucky. So even if you don't have a lucky trinket, you can just trade random stuff to get lucky Pokemon. And lucky Pokemon reduce Stardust cost when leveling, basically. Not only that, but you can also have the guaranteed old Pokemon trades. So if you are a returning old player and you have Pokemon beyond 2020, like 2020 and older, you have like at least 35 guaranteed lucky trades with old Pokemon. So how does that work? It's kind of like you use an old Pokemon and someone will give you whatever you want or whatever you want to trade that you want to make it go lucky. That's what you would do. So I do that all the time if I'm trading shinies and I don't want it. And if we don't have lucky trinket, we don't have guaranteed lucky trade, and we're just like, we want it to go lucky, we want it to have better IVs, we would just kind of like cheese the system, give an old Pokemon, and they'll give me an old Pokemon, and we'll just do the trade that way so that like we get kind of both get guaranteed lucky trades. Special trades are also like you only get one a day, but like I think right now with the Friendship Friday thing going on with the current season, you get three special trades on Fridays. But normally it's one a day, and what that means is you can only do costumes, legendary, shiny, dex entry, regionals, like etc. That's like one a day. So if you already traded it with someone, you can't do another trade with like somebody else. So during events, they would have increased like special trades. And that's when you would do all your bulk like legendary trades or the lucky trades if you're at an event and you're like, oh, we have lucky friends, they have lucky friends. That's when you would do all your big trades. You know what I mean? For instance, like me and my friend did a few of those at GoFest where we would just trade shiny Mewtwo's. So that's always a good fun thing to do. There's also particles, which is for max battles, and then link charges, which is for mega raids, like the super mega raids. So what that means is that like, well, the Dynamax raids are a whole different system versus the regular raids. And the link charges can be used in place of green passes if you are in person. However, like if you are remote raiding, you need to use a remote pass plus link charges if you are doing a super mega raid. But the particles are a whole different story because max battles have a different system. So you would see the encounters for max battles, and you can only use D-Max, which is Dynamax or Gigantamax Pokemon in those raids. And the only exceptions are Zacian and Zamazenta. Those are the only two non like Dynamax, Gigantamax Pokemon that you can use in those raids, but you can't leave them in for candy, for instance. So normally you can leave a Pokemon like a D Max Pokemon, G Max Pokemon inside the max battles to gain extra candies. And honestly, that's a good way of farming extra candies if you need it for like legendary D Max, for instance. Another thing is PvP IVs are kind of different than wanting perfect IVs because PvP IVs, you want the defense and the HP to be more and like attack to be like little to none. And mostly that's because like you would actually be more tanky and it doesn't really affect like the attack, I believe. So I haven't really like played too much PvP like GBL in Pokemon Go, so I'm not really going to talk too much about that. I just know that that is a difference like in terms of IV. So sometimes if you want to get really serious into that further along the line, you would want to save those kind of Pokemon with those type of IVs. So not all like low IV Pokemon are trash because those are kind of really good in their own respective rights, right? And another thing is timed items, bottle caps, lucky trinkets, like things that expire. Those are usually paid items. So bottle caps, you would have to pay for like certain events that you can get them where you would be able to hyper train your Pokemon, for instance, and make it like a hundo or shundo, you know, which is like they come with required tasks to do. But if you play the game, like you'll be fine. Like you can finish the tasks. Some of them are kind of annoying because they are time gated, like, you know, spin a Pokestop like every day for how many X days. But like, you know, it is what it is. Like you'll eventually do it as long as you play the game. The other one is lucky trinkets, which I mentioned before. It will just make you lucky friends with someone to have a guaranteed lucky trade. And another item I kind of want to talk about is auto catchers. This makes life so much easier when you're a serious player because like every friend I know who has been playing Pogo for a really long time has an auto catcher. And it took me a couple months because I didn't want to invest in it until like I knew I was going to be playing for a long time. I ended up buying it off eBay for like $60-$70 last year and now it's like 130. But they also are introducing like some sort of digital auto catcher item in some near future. I don't know. I saw leaks about it. It's not confirmed yet, though. It's not in the game. But like, if you can get an auto catcher, it's like really nice because you can just walk around or drive around, and it'll spin your stops and catch Pokemon for you. So there's many a time where I've gotten a random wild hundo or like a shiny, like just with my auto catcher on. So honestly, it's one of the best investments I've ever made in terms of playing Pokemon Go. Obviously, you're gonna need a battery pack. That's like another thing that you need. And I feel like one of the other things that I saw, like especially if you're playing in a hot climate, like one of my friends has like this little like phone cooler, like it's like a fan slash like, it feels really nice and cold though. So it keeps your phone from overheating. I was like, man, Pokemon Go players are built different because that's crazy. Oh, another thing, turn on native refresh rate. It would help your game load a lot faster. And another thing that I wanted to kind of point out is quick catching. And I didn't know about this up until I was playing for a lot longer. It was like, I was like, oh, how do I do this? Like, quick catching is very clutch. And I say that because it's like, okay, so this is basically how you do it. This is like a mini tutorial, right? You would basically like just hold a berry, throw the ball, run away. Hold the berry, throw the ball, run away. And like, if you do this, like you can get really good at doing this really extremely fast. And it comes in clutch for calm days. It comes clutch for like whenever you need to just catch stuff. because like honestly, like see how fast I cleared the screen, because if not, it would have taken a lot longer for it to load. And I'm done clearing up the screen. You know what I mean? There's also roots. Roots are really great too if you want to like have a complete Zygarde and you need 200 cells for that. Honestly, I'm not even close to that. I There's a route around my house that like literally is like a loop around the block, but I don't do it nearly as often as I should. Another thing that I kind of want to like touch on is a lot of people don't talk about this. When I was first playing, I kind of didn't understand shadow Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon. So basically, you don't want to purify shadow Pokemon because they're stronger being shadow. Like they hit, like they're kind of glassy because it's like they hit more, but they kind of take more damage too. But at the same time, you most likely don't want to purify them. There's also like obviously you purify them, they gain two stats like each bar, but and sometimes you can get a purifiable hundo, which is like honestly if you want the hundo of that, that's a way to kind of cheese the system, but most of the times you don't want to purify it. And the EV name tricks, they only can be used once per account, and there used to be like a level up thing where it asks you to evolve all the EVs. And those are the only times where I'm like, that makes sense to use it. But I realize in a few other like quests and stuff, they'll ask you to like evolve an EV into a specific like form. And sometimes I'm like, damn, I should have waited for that. But you know what? It's not even that hard to do it. The only one that's probably the longest to do is probably Sylveon because you need 70 buddy hearts. But it's not that bad. I did that one recently for Shiny Diancie, I believe, like the Masterwork quest, and I already had used the Kira name trick. So that is something that you can be like aware of, because then you know that you can just use it once. So another thing to kind of note on is using daily incense and the Galarian birds. The only times that you can really get the Galarian birds is with daily incense. But the thing is, whenever you see one, it's kind of like bird watching because the catch rate is like abysmal. But like I've seen newer players be able to catch it, and I'm like, damn, I don't even have one. But it's actually like a lot of people say that it's almost like they won't run if it's shiny. But I don't know. I've never encountered one yet, so I can't really like say that for sure. Because I've also heard people say that a shiny Galarian bird has ran on them before, so I'm not really too sure. One of the last tricks I will say is search strings. So for me, like I have about like 3,900 Pokemon storage, but for instance, I have a few searches that you can kind of see right here. So I have like obviously 4-star for Hundo, Dynamax, Nundo, and I have a transfer search string. I just honestly Googled like transfer search strings on like Google, and I found like a whole different one. I can probably look into it. Honestly, I'll probably put it up here. But it has like a bunch of different, I'll probably copy and paste this honestly in case you want to use it too. It's my search string that I've been using. I believe I've adapted it from the person who I got it from because I also added age 0. So that means age 0 just means that it was caught today. And basically this makes it easier because you can see all the kind of like trash or like how you would kind of go about like transferring stuff. That's an easier way of doing it. I also have another one that's like age 0 and 3-star because the other one is like 3-star and below or 2-star and below. So I can manually check if I want to keep a 3-star or not, because sometimes like I don't have that Pokemon and I'm like, okay, maybe I want it still. I want to keep it. But like most of the times, if it's like kind of lower than that, like I said, sometimes I'll check for PvP IVs. If it's a Pokemon that I know that I would want to use in PvP, then I would check it for the IVs. But like other than that, I'm not really doing too much. I have a Shadow tab and also CP666 because I have a 666 collection. So these are all natural caught. I didn't level these. They're all just, and what started it actually like is a 666 Shadow Snorlax. So that's my boy. And honestly, like if you just play the game, like you just catch everything on the screen. You spin the Pokestops, you go to raids, You transfer the Pokemon. It's also like a organizational like game because it's like you have to like know what do you want to keep in your bag. You have to know what do you want to keep in your Pokemon storage. What Pokemon do you want to keep? Which you can't hoard them all. Is like the hard part, right? Like, and the thing about the whole trading situation that I was telling you is I actually got this Hundo Bulbasaur during a trash trade session. So you can see that. That's like from my friend Yami. So it says Yamasar. Yamasaur. So yeah. So sometimes like it can be like that. Also, like I have this like Squirtle costume that I got on New Year's. I went to my friend's house. We did a trash trade. This one went Lucky and Hundo. So sometimes that can happen. So don't count out your trash trades. If you have a friend, you can just sit there and do some back and forth trades if you wanted to. But I would never count it out. I love that honestly so much. I also have a trade tag. So like honestly, make use of your tags also. Like I have like obviously a few different tags, but like for instance, I have a tag called Best Boys, and those are like my favorite Pokemon. But like I also have tags for like PvP, and then I also have like transfer tag for like when you're doing raids and you have a lot of legendary bulk that you don't really need and you are waiting for like a 2x like transfer day or 3x transfer day. We got 3x transfer right now. If you have the Pikachu Go Pass, the deluxe, like that will give you 3x candy right now. So with a chance of XL, which is kind of great. I actually did a transfer I did a bunch of transfers. I got a bunch of candies, like a lot of XL candies. So I felt really good about that because I was running out of storage space with all the goddamn Pikachus. I also have a mega tag. So if I want to go through and find any of the megas that I want to just quickly evolve for the mega metal, for instance, that's how what I would go about doing it. I also have this is just like meme for me, but I have a DDR tag. So I'm a DDR player. I'm a very, very like hyper fixated DDR player. I've been playing DDR, I want to say about 4 years now, kind of like more seriously, as like an adult. And like literally, like I have all DDR names on here. So they're like some of my favorite songs. And honestly, like I usually just gave them to hundos only. But my friend the other day named this little shiny Alolan Rattata Red Zone, and I was like, he's trash IVs, but he deserves that name. He's really cute. So I was like, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I also named this one after a DDR song, so. What really started it all was Max 300. Like I was like, I all these legendaries, like my favorite best boys, like they have to be named after boss songs. What's more iconic than Max 300? That's like the OG like boss song. And then we have like obviously like Egoism 440. There's actually a story behind this because I rated so much for Shiny Zamazenta. It took me so long to get this that the part of the song where he's just like, do you think about me? Do you think about me? I'm like, yes, I do, because I thought about you for so long before I even got this goddamn thing. And it's a Shundo. So this was my silver bottle cap last year. Actually, oh, one more tip with this, actually, because of like, okay, so you can actually stack encounters. I do this all the time, especially when I'm like lazy and I don't have space, or if I'm just like kind of like whatever, I don't feel like doing it. If I'm on the go, if I'm raiding or something, I don't feel like doing the encounter right then and there. You can literally like see these like encounters. I have like win 3 raids and I haven't done them, so I'm not gonna show that. But I have this up here, which just says claim reward. So whenever you get one of these, you can literally get the encounter, but then run from it. And it will just stack right there, right? But sometimes I like to just go through it and I'll just quick catch all of them at the same time. And they don't really ever go anywhere. They'll just stay there. But you can only stack about 100 encounters. So that's also a thing. It's really nice to do, especially like if you don't feel like doing it right then, like me. Or if you're just kind of like you're waiting for like for instance, like if you have the Pikachu like task and it's kind of like asking like catch 5 or 15 Pikachus. If you stack a bunch of those Pikachus in there, you can just quickly catch them when they come up. So that's also another way of going about it. because like you can kind of just like leave them in there. I've gotten a few research stack hundos, so honestly, don't sleep on that. Try to do your encounters, but if you want to stack them, you can stack them up to 100. And obviously, the Go Pass is great too. Like, don't neglect your task. That's it. Like, if you play the game, you do the tasks. You have your buddy. Keep your buddy happy. Do the things with your buddy. You'll eventually get to like, because there's a bunch of the medals, which honestly, like, if you start early, you can start getting the medals as much as you can. I started doing it because I'm about to reach like level 70 soon, and then the tasks will start to get harder and harder when you need more medals. But like the thing is, I've been working on them, so I'm not really too like honestly, my problem right now is like the experience gap. But like I will probably like a lot of them I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get by the time I hit the threshold where I actually need it. You know what I mean? So I'm not really too worried about that. But it's good to kind of be more task oriented so that like if you start now, it doesn't become a burden later. And also if you're going to ambassador meetups, use party play. Cause like I'm almost done with my party play medal. I think I only need like 3 more challenges, which isn't that hard. Cause especially with the Global Go Fest replay happening next week, I'm probably gonna be able to finish it then. So if you're gonna buy anything from the web store or off like the coin shop, buy it from the web store. Press the web store link, go there. All the coins that you buy from there, they give you a bonus. And not only that, they have like the limited time offer boxes over there for a little bit cheaper. So for instance, the Raid Commander box is like $40 on the web store, USD, right? Because I know that like it's also native to wherever you're from, so it might be different in terms of like currency exchange. But yeah, it would be about $40. But if you get it through the inside web store, I believe it's about like a little bit over $40, right? Just $40 and some change. But basically, it's cheaper if you get it through the web store and you get the RNG. Because I realized that like all my friends had different bundles on their web stores. So even if you have it, not everyone around you may have the same packages that you can purchase. So keep that in mind. If you were to spend money, you can also play this free to play. It's not like you have to spend money, but honestly, I've been playing this for quite a long time that I started spending money myself. So like you live long enough to see yourself become the villain sometimes, I guess. Other than that, I will say there's a lot of changes between like if you're a returning player from 2016, for instance, like I'm a returning player and I kind of like fell off over the years. So I only started picking it back up in this last year, so there's a lot that I have been missing and I wish I never stopped playing. But like, you know what? You can only live in the present. You can't regret. So you're here now. We're gonna play this right now. You can always find older players that have stuff that you may want to trade for. All right, those are like my tips and tricks for Pokemon Go. If you like my tips and tricks, feel free to subscribe. I am a Pokemon brain rotter, so I will have more Pokemon themed or just Pokemon Go videos in the future. Let me know if you like the tips and tricks that I am giving because like I don't think I see a lot of people talking about those things. If not, they're not talking about it in returning or beginning videos, which I feel like you should probably talk about those things, right? Because these things are like clutch things that we need to know to kind of go on in the future playing the Pokemon Go, right? Like they're all pretty good, solid advice. Anyway, I'm gonna go and play DDR now and eat ceviche. So there's that. I'm gonna go do that. So me and Pikachu say we're out. And Scopely Niantic, if you ever need me, I'm just saying I'm around. Goodbye.